So if everybody just gets themselves in a comfortable seated position, so on a towel, a blanket, or just on your mats, legs in an easy crossed position. You're going to rest the hands down onto the thighs, lift up through the crown of the head. Let's just relax the shoulders, maybe move them about a little bit. It can be hard to get comfortable straight away when you sit down. So any little movements you need to do just before we settle. Good. Take a big breath into the belly and then a big exhale through the mouth. And again, inhale, fill the belly, and then exhale through the mouth. Let's do one more. Inhale, and then exhale. And today we're going to make it a fairly easy-going class, just getting the whole body moving and being aware of all the parts of the body and really kind of tuning into the breath and trying to see what's going on with that and just trying to bring everything down. I know my head has been crazy for the last little while with everything that's been going on, and so really we're just going to use the next hour just to tune into ourselves for a little while. Okay, so we're going to close the eyes. And again, just check in with how you're sitting. Have you kind of slouched back into the low back? See if you can lift up through the crown of the head. See if you can relax the shoulders. Are they rounded forward a little bit? Sort of unconsciously, just now taking the time to roll them back. Get those shoulder blades down the back. So there's length in the spine. And taking the breath into the belly. So breathing in through the nose and out through the nose if you can. Relax the face. And just keep bringing your thoughts and your mind back to the breath. So if you find that your brain is whizzing, just simply think about the breath coming into the body and then leaving. Keep lifting up to the crown of the head. We're going to spend a little bit more time here. And just gently bringing the mind back to the breath every time it wanders off. Good. And then just gently flicker open the eyes. Lovely. Let's do a little seated twist while we're here. Again, lifting up through the crown of the head. Take the right hand, the outside of the left knee, or just onto the left knee or the thigh or anywhere along there. And then you're going to take the left hand behind. So in line with your sit bone at the back. Lifting up through the crown of the head. And then very gently rotating around towards that left side, but really gently. So we're not tugging ourselves or pushing ourselves into anything too soon. Relax the shoulders down. Take a big deep breath in and then out through the mouth. And then if you want, you can maybe release the head so that you look over that left shoulder or towards the left shoulder. Good. And then releasing, coming back into center. Good. And the same on the other side. So you're going to take that left hand to the outside of the right knee without pulling, or on the thigh. Right hand goes behind, lift up through the crown of the head, and then gently rotating around. Big breath in, and then out. And then in time, if you feel like releasing the chin or the head over that right shoulder, making sure the shoulders are down away from the ears. Good, and then releasing all the way back into center. Just take the feet out from that cross-legged position for a second and just shake them out for a moment. Good. And then let's take the soles of the feet together if we can. Doesn't matter where they are in relation to the rest of your body. They can be quite far out, or you can bring them in closer. Just have a little play around and see what feels good for you. You can hold on to the sides of the feet. You can hold on to the thighs. Lift up through the crown of the head. And maybe just butterfly the knees a couple of times here, just to release the inner thighs. Very gently. Keep breathing into the belly, shoulders away from the ears. Good. And then we're just going to stop with the moving of the knees, and then do actually walk the feet out a little bit further if they're kind of closer in towards you. You're still having the soles of the feet together. We're going to lift up through the crown of the head, and then if you've got the space and the mobility to move forward, let's see if we can just come into a little gentle forward fold here. The elbows to the outside of the legs if they go there. If not, if they're inside, that's totally fine as well. Or if you've got to have the hands down on the floor, that's totally fine. Good. So keep lifting up first of all from your coccyx bone, from your tailbone. So there's length in the spine. We haven't collapsed down through the low back. And then maybe dropping the chin down gently. See if you can release and relax those knees down a little bit more. Take a big breath now into the back body. So fill the ribs at the back and the side of your body. And then exhale, see if you can release a little bit more. Again, we're not pulling ourselves aggressively into any pose. We're just feeling our way into it, using the breath as a little guide. Good, big breath in again. Fill the back and the side of the ribs. And then maybe releasing down a little bit more. Let's take a couple of breaths here, wherever you find yourself in this pose. Make sure the shoulders are relaxed and away from the ears. Good. And then if your eyes are closed, just open them and gently start to uncurl yourself, roll yourself all the way back up. Brilliant. Take the legs, the knees together. Just stay there for a moment, then bring them out front, give them a little shake out. And then coming down onto the mat, you can use your cushion or your blanket if you want underneath your head for the next little while, or just straight down on the mat. So hold on to the back of the legs and then roll down gently onto your mat. Good. Let's bring the knees in over the belly to start. So a nice gentle hug for yourself. Maybe gently rolling on that low back. You can go from side to side. You can do circles. Whatever feels good. Good. And then releasing the feet down onto the floor. We're going to take the left foot and we're going to bring the ankle to the top of the knee there. So you just kind of thread the needle a little bit. Now you can stay here. If this feels like enough of a stretch for the side of your hip on that left side, this is totally fine. Otherwise, maybe lifting that right leg and interlacing the fingers behind the thigh. And you can even use that left elbow then to push that left leg gently out. So you're getting an extra stretch here on this left side. And again, check in with the shoulders. What tends to happen here is if we really trying to reach for the legs, we roll the shoulders up and the neck comes into a funny position. If that's happening, you don't need to have those hands behind the thighs at all. You see if you can just release the shoulders, the shoulder blades down, open the chest. Back of the neck is long. There should be no tension or stress there. Good. And then you're going to release the hands and bring that right foot down onto the mat. And then you're just going to cross that left leg kind of over the right a bit more. And you're going to shift the hips over towards the left. So the left leg over the right, you shift the hips over to the left side a little bit more. And then we're going to drop the knees down gently to the floor. So again, just take a couple of moments here to check out what's going on. This could be enough. You could just place your hands on the belly. If you want to, you can take the hands out wide in a T shape, or you can do goalpost with the arms. And then if the neck is kind of comfortable, you can look over that left shoulder. So it's a little bit of a twist, but we're also kind of stretching into that left hip a little bit. And take a couple of deep breaths into the belly here. Brilliant. And then bring the head back to center, bring the knees back, bring the hips back, uncross the legs. Just take a moment here before we move on to that other side. So we're going to bring that right ankle to the top of that thigh, close to the knee. Check it out. See if that's where you want to stay. That's fine. Again, shoulders away from the ears, back of the neck nice and long. You can lift that left leg, pressing gently into the right thigh with the elbow. See if you can lengthen the tailbone down towards the floor. And as you do that, because if you're curled up in a little ball, like your hips are going to lift it from the floor, you're not getting as much of a stretch. So see if you can lengthen the tailbone down towards the floor, and you immediately feel it in that right side. Again, try and relax the shoulders down. Any gentle movements here are welcome. So if you want to rock a little bit from side to side, we're never static or kind of holding on to the pose too much. Good. And then releasing the hands, release that left foot down towards the floor, cross over The right is crossed over the left. Good. You shift the hips over towards the right a little bit and then see if those knees want to come down towards the floor. Good. And then see if you want to bring those arms out. If the arms are out, just make sure that they're below the shoulders so they're not way up high like that. And then if you want, you can release the head and look over those right fingertips. Take a big breath into the belly. Good. And then bring the head back into center, the knees, the hips, unfurl those legs. Just take a moment here. If you've got a blanket or anything under your head now, just take it out and bring the head flat onto the mat. To put it somewhere close by because we will be using it again. Good. Okay. And so with the feet here, you can draw them in towards the sit bones a little. Fingertips grazing to the top or the back of the heel. If they're a little bit further away, that's totally fine as well. Okay. The knees are hip distance apart. Shoulders away from the ears. We're going to work into a little bridge. So we're just going to open the front of the body here, which sometimes we forget to do. If you're sitting or you're even if you're exercising, a lot of exercises are kind of where you're folded in half or you're folded down, and we get really tight in the low belly and in the tops of the thighs and all the quad muscles around there. So just pressing gently into the feet, we're going to draw the low belly in, and very slowly you're going to start to pick each little vertebrae off the ground. So you start with a tailbone and then move into that low back and then coming all the way up. And to start off, we're going to have the knees, the hips, the ribs and the shoulders all in line with each other here. The palms of the hands are pressing down onto the mat. Really press into the feet. Feel the glute muscles kicking in and your hamstrings kicking in. A nice little stretch here across the front of the body. Should be no tension in the neck whatsoever. Good. And then we're going to roll down through the spine. Again, just a gentle drawing in of the low belly as you roll back down onto the floor, trying to get each little vertebrae one at a time onto the mat. And then we're going to go again. So you're going to inhale and then exhale. Maybe exhaling through the mouth as you come all the way up. Knees and the hips, ribs, shoulders, all in one straight line. Good. And if you want to open up a little bit more, what we can do is roll one shoulder under and then the other, interlace the fingers behind, and then you pick the hips up a little bit more. So you're really pressing into the feet. Again, you've got to watch with the knees that they don't drop out, and keep the back of the neck long so that the chest is moving towards the chin and not the other way around. Good. Keep breathing. Keep lengthening through the arms. Keep the tailbone moving towards the back of the legs. Maybe pick those hips up an inch more, a centimetre more. It might feel like a mile when you do it. Good. And then releasing the hands, the shoulders, if you came along with us there. And then very gently just rolling all the way back down onto the floor. Brilliant. Bring the knees in, a little hug. Again, just doing what you need to do for your own low back. Brilliant. Okay, we're going to come back up to sitting. A nice thing to do, rather than just pushing yourself back up, is maybe hold on to the back of the legs and see if you can kind of rock yourself up. So you start off, maybe tuck the chin in towards the chest, you start rolling on that low spine. Now maybe you don't make it all the way up. This is a lovely massage for the spine, and it's a bit of fun. So don't get too worried about what it looks like, but enjoy the rolling. Again, the chin gently tucked towards the chest. Maybe one more. And coming all the way up. Brilliant. Let's go onto our hands and knees. Good. So shoulders and wrist creases in line with each other here. Let's have the hands shoulder distance apart. Spread the fingers really wide so that the middle finger is pointing forward. The knees and the hips in line with each other here. You can bring the tops of the feet down onto the mat. The knees are hip distance apart. Good. The back of the neck is nice and long. So the crown of the head is moving forward. You're looking right down between your hands here. Good. Shoulders away from the ears. Brilliant. And we're just going to stretch out that right leg first of all. So you're pushing back through that right heel. Draw the low belly in. Good. And then the same on that other side. Pushing back through that left heel. Don't be afraid to move here. Good. And then bring that knee back in. We're going to again open up through the front body here. So you're going to drop the belly down. Open the chest again, shoulders away from the ears, gently looking forward. And then just for a moment, I'm moving about here. See if you have any sort of room to move here. Again, the elbows aren't locked tight. They're kind of a little bit, no, I wouldn't say bent, a little micro bend in them. Good. And then from here, you're going to tuck the tailbone under, tuck the chin towards the chest gently, opening up through the shoulder blades. Draw the low belly in so you're in your cat pose or your angry cat pose. Good. Again, moving here a little bit. So if there's any little way to move here. There's a really nice stretch in the ribs here when you move from side to side. For me anyway, it feels good. And then we're going to come back and come into your cow. And this time we're going to start to move a little bit more with the breath. So inhale, come down into cow, and then exhale into cat. Inhale, and then exhale. Good. Inhale, and then exhale. Let's do two more. Inhale, and then exhale. Last one, inhale, and then exhale. And then coming back to your start position or your neutral position here. And we're just going to extend the hands out in front. We can bring the knees a little bit closer together, not touching, but a little bit closer. You can curl the toes under here if you wanted to, if you want to stretch out the feet. We're going to walk the hands out so that you can bring the head towards the mat. It doesn't have to get there at all. Maybe you want to come down onto your elbows. And here, really just thinking about what the tailbone is doing. So for me right now, my back is kind of it's curved. So what I'm going to do is tuck the tailbone a little so I have more length in my spine. Good. I'm going to walk my hands out. I'm going to bring my head down towards the mat, but just choose for you what is best in the stretch. Take a couple of breaths here. If your toes are tucked under, see if you can get all 5 toes to touch the mat. Good. One more breath here. And then slowly lifting the head, coming all the way back. Brilliant. Let's uncurl the toes, bring the toes together, and then bring the knees to the edge of the mat. And we're going to sit the bum back towards the heels, just for a moment here. And then we're going to come all the way back up. As we're coming back up, just have a check. It depends on your wrists, okay? So we're going to kind of move forward a little bit here. which can bring an unusual stretch to the outside of those hips. So really just kind of taking it easy and see where your body feels comfortable. And then we're going to move back and we're going to connect that to the breath. So inhaling as you come forward. You can open the chest if that feels comfortable. Again, just making sure that the shoulders are away from the ears. Make sure that the low back is comfortable. And coming back towards the heels on that exhale. It can be a tiny movement. It can be this. You don't have to go forward at all. Good. And if the knees at the edge of the mat are too much, you just bring them in a little bit closer. And just really work with your own body. Good, let's do one more. Good, just slowly building a little bit of heat, very gently. And then we're walking the hands back again, sitting right back onto the heels if we can get there. Resting the elbows down on the floor, maybe bringing the head onto the hands. Closing the eyes, shoulders away from the ears. We're just going to take a couple of breaths here. Good. And then slowly coming all the way back up. Uncurl, uncurl, uncurl. Bring the knees together. Good, and just resting the hands down onto the thighs. Lift up through the crown of the head. Just take a moment or a breath here in hero pose. And then from here, we're going to walk the hands out. And we're going to take the right foot forward. So let's get the ankle and the knee and the right foot in line with each other here. The back knee, you're going to curl the toes under and just draw it back a little bit so you're not right on in the middle of that back knee. You're more towards the top of the knee there. It's a little more comfortable. The back toes are flat on the floor. And we're just going to stay here for a moment. You can be up on your fingertips. Just maybe do little circles or rock from side to side. Just see how everything is feeling. If there's any little creaks, there's plenty of creaks in my hips today. Good, so this feels nice. And then I'm gonna just walk my hands back here and we're gonna come up onto that back knee. So again, just draw that knee, that front foot forward if it's out a little bit far. Brilliant. Reach the fingertips or interlace the hands and reach the hands up towards the ceiling. So you're pressing the palms up. Drop the shoulders down. Good, again, with the movement. Just feeling your way around in this today. And then release the hands behind, interlace the fingers behind and open the chest. And here maybe looking up towards the ceiling. If you need to put an extra towel or something under that left knee, then go ahead and do that. You can also double your mat over. You can grab your mat and do that if it feels a little bit sensitive on that back knee. And then releasing the hands. Good, take that right foot back. Let's just move those hips around. That's it. Take that left foot forward. The knee and the ankle in line with each other here. Lift that left or that right knee back. Flatten the toes. And again, just moving in it here. Now the shoulders, just make sure that they're away from the ears. They're not kind of crunching up and that the neck isn't down. Good. And again, I'm just going to walk the hands back. Maybe bring that left leg back with us a little here. As we lift up, interlace the hands, press them up. Shoulders away from the ears. Oh, my shoulders are so tight. I can really just feel everything wanting to crunch up. So a little bend in the elbows here is nice actually to release the shoulders. And then bringing the hands behind, open up. You can look up towards the ceiling. So gently tilting the chin up towards the ceiling, making sure not to crunch in that, in your neck, in the back of your neck. Good. And then releasing the hands, bringing them back down onto the floor. Take that left knee back. Walk the hands a little bit forward. We're going to come up into downward dog. Oh my God, it's halfway through the class. We haven't even done a down dog yet. That's a good sign, I think. So spread the fingers nice and wide. Hands shoulder distance apart. Really press down into the back of the knuckles here on the hand, on the palm of the hand. Curl the toes under. And you're going to glide those, lift those hips back behind us and just pedaling the feet here gently. Let the head hang down. Shoulder blades moving down the back. Feet are hip distance apart or even a little bit more. And just checking in with the breath now. Trying not to hold it. Keep pedaling those feet. Good, and then bring them hip distance apart. Really push the floor away with those hands. And if you want to straighten the legs, you can here. Otherwise, you keep a little bend in them. That's totally fine. Lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Good. And we're going to lift the right leg up. Point the toes, and then you're going to bring that right foot towards the top of the mat. I say towards the top of the mat, so if you don't get it there on the first go, that's totally fine. You just grab it, you whoosh it up there. Good. Swivel on that back heel so that the back foot isn't, it's not directly pointing out. There's a little angle on that foot. And you're going to press the floor away, come all the way up to standing. I'm going to fix my mic here. It's gone awry. Okay. And bend into that front knee. So if you're looking back, the toes are kind of at that angle, 45-degree angle there. You're not going to get the hips totally square on at the front, but you're trying to move them around in that direction. Moving the ribs around. And then lifting the fingertips up towards the ceiling. You're bending into that front knee. Good. Open the chest. Bring the arms out a little bit wider. Good. And then we're going to come around into our warrior two. So opening the chest towards the front. And then you can bring those toes directly out towards the front. So maybe widening in that front stance a little bit, that front leg. A nice deep bend into that front knee. Open the chest. Arms at shoulder height, looking out over those front fingertips. Good. Another breath or two here. And then just turn the palm of the front hand up and gently kind of sweep back for peaceful warrior. And then we're going to come all the way back around. You're going to swivel on that back foot so the heel lifts up off the ground. You bring that back knee down towards the floor. It's hard to do it when the legs are really far apart. And then you're going to take that right leg back. And we're going to come into downward dog. I'm going to fix my mic here while you do that. Okay. Again, pedaling the feet if you need to. And we're going to lift that left leg up here. Good. Take it to somewhere at the top of the mat. Swivel on that back foot. Maybe cartwheel the arms around until you get up. And again, just taking a few moments to check what the feet are doing. Maybe bringing the hands onto the hips, turning the hips towards the front, pressing into the heel of that back foot, and then lifting the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Open the chest. Good. And then we're going to open out into warrior two. Again, go a little bit wider with the legs. The toes point straight. Open the chest. The toes, those back foot, Bend into that front leg. Arms at shoulder height. You're looking out over those front fingertips. Good. Turn the palm of the hand up and gently sweep back. Inhale. And then exhale, we're going to bring ourselves down. I like to kind of do a cartwheel down. I feel like I'm in motion. It happens a lot easier. And you swivel on that back foot. And then get yourself back into a downward facing dog. And any way you want to do this, you can straighten the legs or you can move the heels. Good. And then bring the knees down onto the floor. Toes together, knees a little bit apart. And then just sit the bum right back to the heels if you can. Bring the head onto your hands, again, shoulders away from the ears. And let's just check in with the breath. So try and fill the side and the back ribs as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, see if you can release the hips a little bit more. Good, another breath or two here. And then slowly coming up onto your hands and your knees. We're going to take the right foot forward again. And then you're going to take that back knee. Just bring it back a little bit. Flatten the toes. Let's walk the right foot out towards the edge of the mat. And then you can plant the hand down anywhere on the mat. I'd say the more space you have between your foot and your hand, the better for this one. It's a nice way to open the body. And then we're just going to lift those right fingertips up towards the ceiling. See if you can drop the hips down, but at the same time, push the floor away with that right foot. If you want to here, you can turn those right toes, turn the right foot out at an angle, and that kind of works into the inner thigh. Good, take that right hand back down towards the floor. Bring that left, or that right foot in towards the center. And we're going to work into a pigeon pose here. So another opening for the hip. You're walking that right foot across the other side of the mat, okay? Let's lift the back knee, give yourself a little bit more space here, flatten the toes, and you're bringing that right leg down towards the mat. Now, your foot can be flexed in this position here, and you're trying to, as much as possible, get that right shin bone in line with the top of the mat. Or if you want to work a little bit more gently, but still opening the hip a good deal, you can bring the foot in. So the top of the foot is to the top of the mat. That doesn't make any sense. The top of the foot is on the mat. That's the top of the mat. Good. For sleeping swan. And you can stay here just for a moment to take the shoulders away from the ears. And then slowly you're going to work your way down onto the mat. So onto the elbows first of all. Again, just making any adjustments you need to. You can use a towel or the cushion to kind of support yourself under the hips as well. And then if you want, you can bring the head right down onto your hands or onto your towel, your blanket.
And we're just going to close the eyes and stay here for a little while. Shoulders away from the ears. Just trying to bring ourselves back to the breath here. Slowly now, just opening the eyes, bringing ourselves gently up onto our hands. Take the toes of that back foot, curl them under, and then lift the knee and bring it up the mat a little bit here. And that'll just give you a little bit more space to bring that right leg back. And just move it around here. Let's get the blood flow back up there. It's quite an intense pose. Good, and then we're gonna just bring the hands forward again before we go on to that second side and come back into a downward facing dog. Let the head go here and just kind of shaking yes and no with the head once or twice just to make sure that you're not holding any tension there. Good, and then we're gonna bring the knees back down. We'll go onto that left side, so you're bringing that left foot forward, out towards the edge of the mat. The right knee comes back, flatten the toes. The right hand is towards the edge of the mat. Just going to sink the hips down here for a moment, but push the floor away with this left foot so you're not, your weight isn't all going into that left knee. And then you're going to open up with that left side. And if you want, you can gently turn the foot out. Make sure that right shoulder is away from the ear. Good. Another breath here. And then you're taking that right hand down. We're going to walk that left foot over to the other side for pigeon. Lift the right leg and bring the knee back a little. Flatten the toes. And then just see where you are with that left leg. Good. Shoulders away from the ears. Just take a breath or two here. Good. And then bringing the elbows down onto the floor. And then if you want to, you can bring the head down again. And just check in with the shoulders, make sure they're not up at the ears. I'm trying to tune into the breath. Lovely. Slowly then just getting ready to come back up. So gently onto the hands. Lift that back knee. Bring it in a little. Take that left knee back. Move it around. You can either come into child's pose here now if you like, with the toes together and the knees apart, or you can come back into a downward facing dog. Pressing the floor away with the hands. Good. Just taking a breath or two, whichever pose that you are in. Brilliant. And then bring the knees back down if you're in downward dog. And everybody finding their way onto the mat in a seated position. Brilliant. Okay. So we're just going to bend the knees, hold on to the back of the legs, and we're going to roll on down. And again, if you need something for your head here, if you feel like your shoulders are very tight and sort of lifting up off the mat, and it's a good idea to get something just to lift the head. Okay, just take a moment or two here. And bring the knees in over the belly. Good. And then bring the feet back down onto the floor. And here we're going to work into Supta Balikonasana. So you're going to take the soles of the feet together and then let the knees drop out to the side. And again, just taking a few moments to assess what's happening with the body as you do that. So if you feel like your ribs have completely lifted and you're all hunched up here, just adjust the legs as you need to. You may need to bring them further down the mat. Now we're going to stay here for a little while. It's a really beautiful pose for settling the mind and settling the body. So you can bring your hands to the inner thighs if you like, just to kind of press gently down. You can have hands on the belly. Again, whatever you're doing, just make sure that there's no sort of compromises in the upper part of the body, that you're hunched up or anything. I really want you to be able to feel the mat supporting you, feel the ground supporting you. And if it's too uncomfortable for the inner thighs, then just bring the knees together and bring the feet to the edge of the mat. So after we've done all of our adjustments, let's just close the eyes. Back of the neck is long. And the breath is just gently lifting the belly as you breathe in. And then folding away as you breathe out. Let's check in with the face and the jaw, so relaxing the jaw. And just keep bringing the mind gently back to the breath. Just take another breath or two here. And then just take the hands to the outside of the thighs and bring the knees together. Let the knees come together and the feet towards the edge of your mat. That low back is completely relaxed. And then just bring the knees in over the belly. Just gently rolling forwards and then backwards on that low back. Keep the shoulders relaxed, the face relaxed. Maybe do little circles. Good, and then bring the feet down onto the floor. So we're going to move into Shavasana from here. We've cooled down a good bit now, so I would suggest getting a blanket or something to put over yourselves if you're feeling a little bit chilly, or using your blanket for the back of your head. What I like to do for this is to roll my blanket into lengthways like that, and then I just put it under my knees as I bring them down onto the floor. So it really allows my legs to kind of switch off on my hips. Allow the feet to roll out to the side. So just doing whatever you need to do. Socks, maybe put your socks on. You have something to put on over your eyes. We'll be here for 6 minutes, so do get comfortable. You can bring the hands down beside you with the palms facing up, or if you prefer to have them on your low belly. If they're down on the floor, if your hands are down on the floor with the palms facing up, just make sure you've given yourself some space between your arms and the side body. Allow the chest to open. Do whatever wiggling that you need to do before we completely rest. So just checking in again with the jaw. So make sure the jaw is relaxed. Maybe the mouth is even open a little bit. Allow the tongue to float to the roof of the mouth. The area between the eyebrows, see if you can just relax that natural frown that we all have. Imagine the eyebrows just sliding down the side of the face. The forehead is relaxed. Cheeks. Feel the back of the head just heavy on the mat. And try to soften through the whole body. So take a big deep breath into the belly, really rounding the belly, and then exhale through the mouth. As you exhale, just allow the back body to get heavy. So all the points that are touching the floor have contact with the floor. Just really let them sink. And then let the front body sink into the back body. And let the back body melt away. and also the fun part of your mind, the thinking and the planning, the worrying part. Just allow all of that to sink and to melt back. So gently just bringing your awareness back to the room that you're in, becoming aware of the sounds. And back to your body, back to your breath, becoming aware of your breath coming in and out. And maybe bringing a little bit of movement into the fingers, maybe touching the thumb to the forefinger, middle finger, ring finger, and then baby finger. Good. Stretching the toes away. Maybe reaching the arms behind for a full body stretch. Good. And then gently just bringing the knees in over the belly. You can keep your eyes closed if you like. And then rolling onto your right side and resting the head onto the hands. Just take this last little moment to yourself. And when you're ready, if you can keep the eyes closed, then do that. Just gently coming all the way back up to a comfortable seated position. Maybe taking those towels and sitting up onto them. It's moving nice and slow. Lifting the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Drop the shoulders down. Maybe just moving the neck from the head from side to side. A little stretch in the neck. Good. And then gently flickering open the eyes. Bring the hands together at the heart if you want to. And thank you so much for coming to practice today. Namaste. Good work, everybody.